I'm not going to do one thing. I have not made one decision that I think in my own heart and in my soul didn't help North Carolina be stronger when she recovers from this recession, and we will recover. We will recover, and there'll be another day for our kids and our future, and we can't afford to stop the investment in our people that is so incredibly important in good times and bad times. And so I did all that, and I'm proud to tell you that I'm a Democrat and I did it. So don't you let the Republicans tell you that it's only them who understand how to cut and to do things differently, how to consolidate, how to tighten your belt and do more with less. We've all done that in this club and your families and your businesses, and I've led North Carolina to do that. And as a result, you're sitting in one of 7 states in America that has a AAA bond rating. That is pretty cool. Everybody's watch list, where to come, where to build a business, where to do a business. Every single evaluator, from site selection to CEO to the Wall Street Journal to CNN, NBC, to all of those folks, they understand how good we are. And as a result, my friends, in the last 6 years, this state has seen about 350 to 400,000 new people move into North Carolina who are looking for work. So don't talk to me about our high unemployment rate. I understand the unemployment rate is very high. But let me remind you, our unemployment rate was about 7.5% when this recession started, because we were the state, as you recall, who was globalized. Yeah. All of our tobacco, textiles, manufacturing shipped overseas in the early 2000s, and we were just bouncing back from that. And then this, sure, we're working on jobs. And you're looking at somebody who has led a real concerted effort with whom I call the best Secretary of Commerce in a long, long time, Keith Crisco. We are very successful about bringing in jobs and growing jobs. The problem becomes, though, that there are still lots of our people who are unemployed. I want you to always remember that you're a North Carolinian and that this is the best state in America. Now, I want to talk to you about why it's the best state in America very briefly. There was an article in yesterday's News and Observer that I'm thinking about a whole lot. I, in my mind, can say the difference in North Carolina. My mom always said, don't talk bad about anybody. But I tell you what, for my whole adult life, I've been real proud that North Carolina wasn't Mississippi or Alabama or, South Carolina. God forbid. I'm glad about that. And on every list, I've always been able to say, well, we're not as bad as Mississippi, thank goodness. And these days, we have to think twice about what we're doing with education. That article yesterday, Bob, in the News and Observer, by Charlie Coble, who was the Dean of Education at East Carolina for a while, he said that the difference, in his opinion, was the fact that we elected Terry Sanford as our governor. I hadn't thought of it in that way. He said, while we had Terry Sanford and other public and private sector leaders leading North Carolina, you had George Wallace in Alabama. And in our state, we were all trying to throw the doors open to education, public schools, community colleges, and universities, while in many other southern states, they were trying to close the door to all of us who weren't welcome in public schools. He said that transformed North Carolina. I've always said it was that time period, but I'll go a little bit further, if you will, and say it was also in the 60s and 70s and 80s when people began to have a different dream for our people. Folks looked at textiles and tobacco and manufacturing, and they thought, there has to be something more for some of our kids to do, for some of our people to do, so we can have a healthy, diverse, vibrant economy. And our leaders, businessmen and women, churchmen and women, citizen men and women like us, they stood off and they demanded that we create a strong, solid investment in our people. Because after all, you all, our state and our country's people are our best resources. We are capital. We are human capital. And in doing that, it changed the fabric of North Carolina. You know, your citizens, we're all citizens of a state that has 2 constitutional mandates in it that most other constitutions don't have. Bob Spearman's over there, he can talk with me about it. One guarantees every child in this state, not just rich kids or not just kids from certain school districts, every kid. The constitutional guarantee to a free, sound, basic education. That's part of who we are as a people. And then you superimpose on top of that the second constitutional guarantee that all of us have the right to as nearly as an affordable as possible higher education. North Carolina transcended the South, and that's why we are red hot. That's why we're looked at as the leader in this Southern economy and this American economy, because we have invested in our resources. And this year, generations of investment were turned backwards, and you understand that.
Yes.
Decisions were made, and now let me just close honestly. I'm married to a guy who was a Republican.
But you changed.
The first Christmas that we were married, he gave me this little present under the Christmas tree. Yeah, I mean, my kids were there, and we thought he was we thought it was a nice diamond ring or earrings. Or, you know how women are. We like little boxes. And this was a little, guys, we like little boxes. And this little box came out from under the tree, and I thought, Bob has just outdone himself. And my boys were looking in it, and we opened it up, and there was a piece of paper. I thought, And I pulled it out, and it was the best gift I'd ever gotten, because he changed his registration from Republican to unaffiliated. And he said proudly, honey, I love you, but even I can't go any further than that. So I want you to know, for 15 years, I have worked in a bipartisan fashion to craft solutions to problems that could destroy a marriage or a world. I want you to know that. And so I am not talking about the decisions that were made by this General Assembly simply because they're Republicans. I'm not, and I wouldn't want you to. But the fact of the matter is, the Republican decisions that were made are bad for North Carolina, bad for our future, and bad for our economy. And we've got to stand up. And I've tried to do the standing up as much as you would allow me to. Let me tell you what's happening. I, again, do a lot of job recruiting. And I have yet to recruit any company into North Carolina that sometime, after we get beyond the incentives, and you all, whether you like it or not, that's part of economic development in America. And if 49 other states do it, I'll be doggone, North Carolina's got to do it too, and we are. But after you get to beyond incentives, and after you get beyond quality of life and how great our communities are, because everybody who comes here loves us, they'll ask you one question. I had this happen 9 weeks ago by a company in the mountains. The CEO of the company said, I'm not done. Didn't say it that way, that's what he meant. I read the clips. I have a news service. If I'm getting ready to plunk down $86 million in North Carolina, I'm understanding what's going on. And I know what's happening to your investments in education. Can you guarantee me, Governor Perdue, can you give me your word, Governor, that these commitments you've made to me, that my employees who are moving here from other states, that they won't whine about bad public schools or bad teachers because you cut back and you don't have all these other helpers in the... Do you promise me that you're going to have a community college system that can retool as a high-tech company, that can continue to educate my workers as technology changes? And do you promise the university system will be able to give us a solid stream of talented engineers to continue to innovate and create? I looked at the gentleman and I said, I promise, you've got my word. That night when I came home and began to get ready for bed looking in the mirror, I said, Dear God, I pray that I didn't lie to the man, because that's the climate we find ourselves in. Terry Sanford and Jim Hunt and Bill Friday, those were people who lived the history of North Carolina. They've seen our state change, and they understand clearly that an investment in education is an investment in our future. That's who we are as a people. I want to end by telling you a story. It's a true story. It's on my website still, the state website. If you are bored enough and want to go